Dr. Nina Cortex has created a lot of things. Animal hybrid soldiers, advanced weapons, countless experiments. Some of them failed, some of them escaped. But every now and then, something works. Not perfectly, not cleanly, but close enough to what he intended. And when that happens, it raises an interesting question. What happens when Cortex actually succeeds? Well, we've actually seen the answer to that. And her name is Nina Cortex. Because unlike the others, Nina didn't escape. She didn't resist, but was successfully changed, transformed, manipulated into exactly what Cortex was trying to create. And that might actually make her his most dangerous creation of all. Nina Cortex is a strange character in the Crash Bandicoot series. She wasn't a Cortex creation in the same way that Dingodile or Tiny Tiger was. She was already a real, free-thinking person, his niece. But what makes her story so strange is she's one of the only characters shaped directly by Cortex who didn't reject him. Crash broke free, and so did Coco, Torna, and Crunch. But Nina stayed within his world, within his grasp, and became something far closer to what he was trying to build. And that's what makes her so different. But to truly understand who Nina is, and how she became the mutilated figure we know today, we first need to go back to when she was a sweet and innocent child. Before anything else, Nina was just a regular child, but she wasn't exactly random. Officially, she's the niece of Dr. Nina Cortex, which immediately raises a question if you know your Cortex trivia. Because according to the series lore, Cortex's family was killed in an explosion when he was young. So how does Nina exist at all? Either one of his family members survived without him knowing, or the relationship isn't exactly what it seems at face value. Because at one point, Cortex almost refers to her as his daughter.
My daughter, niece!
And whether that was a slip or something more, it makes one thing very clear. Nina wasn't just another subject. She was personal. She shared his blood, his DNA, even the N on his forehead, albeit a lowercase one. Now, when Nina was a young girl, by all accounts, she was highly empathetic and showed a deep love for animals, often preferring the presence of her furry friends over other people. There was nothing about her intrinsically that suggested she would become a monster capable of cruelty and evil. But to Cortex, that was the problem, because Cortex doesn't value empathy. He values control, power, domination. So instead of guiding her and protecting her as an older relative should, he altered her. In a horrible and gruesome surgery, he replaced her hands with mechanical weapons, heavy metal claws that look more like the jaws of life than an extremity. And this wasn't an upgrade, it was a correction, a way to remove what he saw as a weakness. And from that point on, Nina couldn't interact with the world the same way again. With one cruel act, Cortex took away the thing that Nina loved most in the world, and ensured that should she ever try to cuddle one of her furry friends again, that she would crush them in her cold and powerful claws, thus ensuring her caring and empathetic nature would be extinguished. There's a clear cause and effect here. You take someone who is capable of connection and you remove their ability to express it. You isolate them, and over time, that changes how they think, how they act, who they become. Nina doesn't become cold by accident. She becomes cold because the environment she's placed in doesn't allow for anything else. There's an old story about King Midas. You've heard it before. Everything he touched turned to gold. At first, it seemed like a gift, until he realized he couldn't hold anyone he cared about without killing them. Nina's situation is different, but the result is similar. After her transformation, everything she touches is met with force, not because she wants to destroy it, but because she has no other way to interact with it. And over time, that kind of limitation doesn't just isolate you, it reshapes you. After this, Nina is sent away to Madame Ambely's Academy of Evil, the same demented school that produced some of the most morally corrupt characters in the franchise. She's trained, conditioned, taught how to think, how to view the world around her. And this is where the real shift happens, because Nina doesn't resist it. She adapts to it. She becomes more efficient, more calculated, more aligned with how Cortex sees the world. Crash, he rejected the system. Coco resisted it, but Nina absorbed it. And this is where things take a turn, because Nina doesn't just blindly follow Cortex, no, she improves on what he does. She becomes more focused, more effective. Even characters like Aku Aku acknowledge that she's highly intelligent, arguably more so than Cortex himself. This comes from the game's moral compass, the ancient spirit who protects Crash and represents wisdom and good. He's not insulting Cortex as a throwaway gag. He's making a genuine assessment that the student has surpassed the teacher, and that the teacher created something more dangerous than himself. And in some stories, Nina doesn't just support Cortex, she starts taking control of the situations herself, which means Cortex didn't just shape Nina into a loyal follower, he created someone who could eventually outgrow him. But there's one detail that complicates everything. Despite everything Cortex did to her, despite all the cruelty and abuse he inflicted upon her, there are moments where he still tries to protect her. In Twinsanity, when evil Crash kidnaps Nina, Cortex demands that evil Crash let Nina go and take him instead. This is the man who replaced her hands, sent her away and used her as a tool, and yet in this moment he offers himself as a hostage to protect her. It's one of the most humanizing moments Cortex has in any game, and it happens because of Nina. So what is Nina Cortex? She's not just another villain, she's not just another experiment, she's what happens when someone is shaped over time by control, isolation, expectation, and manipulation, and never breaks away from it. In a sense, it's the path that splits down two roads. On one side, we have the Bandicoots. All suffered at the hands of Cortex. All were experimented on, used, abused, mistreated, and suffered immensely. However, they did not allow the darkness and evil to overcome them, but rather chose the path of good over evil, rejecting the hate that was poured into them and choosing love instead. On the other path, we see Nina. She suffered in a similar way to the Bandicoots, but she ultimately didn't resist it, didn't reject it, and allowed that corruption to fill her heart and mind until it consumed her. Or if you're a Star Wars fan, it's Luke and Anakin Skywalker. One allowed the dark side to twist him into a brutal monster. The other resisted it and chose the light instead. But I can't help but feel sorry for Nina, in the same way I feel sorry for Cortex. Yes, they have both gone down a path of villainy, but at one stage, they were both young and innocent children, and in a similar way, they both suffered abuse at the hands of their own families, and over time, became the very things that they once despised. It's that old saying, hurt people hurt people. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, I am Dan Squidz, and this is the home of nostalgia, gaming, and forgotten lore. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and drop a comment on whose story you want to explore next. I'll see you there.